hot and techy Brezza, the city-bred SUV.
Well, there we have it then. Back-to-back wins for the Super Giants, back-to-back defeats at home for the Royal Challengers. A similar score that RCB didn't even run close against the Knight Riders. But the bowling attack, that certainly we can say has a lot to look forward to for the rest of the IPL. LSG have won this quite comfortably by 28 runs at the Chinnaswamy. Not an easy ground to defend. They've defended with style. We continue discussing Mayank Yadav, among other things, on Maruti Suzuki Arena Presents ESPN Cricket 4 Timeout. Tom Moody, Mitch McClenaghan, Varun Aaron. I think the two of you predicted LSG to defend this. Put your hands up. Excellent. You will win something as the night goes on. I'm quite sure.
The game will finish 19.4, and it did.
It did indeed. Well done. Wonderful panel. But I guess we must take the similar theme to what we did after the last LSG game. Just Mayank Yadav, he comes into the game and has such a big impact. Tom, you said at the start of the day, that's the guy you're looking forward to seeing. And now that one day was not a one-off. He's got something, this kid, doesn't he?
Oh, without a doubt. Genuine pace. Again, we're only talking about a format where he only has to bowl 24 balls, unless he's bowling a couple of wides or no balls. But so whether he can maintain that pace in different formats of the game, it's only early days. But what's so impressive is not only just the pace, because that excites everyone. It's like seeing, like a Nicholas Pooran hit the ball out of the ground. It's sort of exhilarating time, watching. But it's his control. He looks, not only has he got the control, but he looks like he's got quite a mature head on his shoulders with regards to how he's bowling and what lines he's bowling and length he's bowling. So it's, he's a real find.
Just saw warming pictures on the TV just then, standing and having a conversation with Lockie Ferguson. Mayank Yadav tonight bowled the fourth fastest ball in IPL history.
Yes.
Lockie Ferguson above him with 157, and obviously Sean Tate right up there. But what a group of bowlers to be a part of, and so young in his career. Like you said, you touched on his accuracy, and I think that was the point. I think we were expecting him to come in and bowl shorts, but he bowled an impeccable length tonight. And that ball to get Cam Green out, top of off stump, was one of the best balls of the tournament so far.
Yeah, I mean, this is again your area of expertise and what it means for a young Indian bowler to be clocking that kind of. It'll be all over social media if it isn't already. Top 5 fastest balls in the IPL, fastest this season. Reminds us of when you burst on the scene. But looking at him, one game to the next, bowling at the Chinnaswamy, what are you impressed with beyond what happened in the last game?
I think it's the consistency, like Tom said, because bowling at that pace at the Chinnaswamy, going into the game, we said that lines are going to be important, not just lines, even lengths, and he adapted. I feel the best fast bowlers and the best players change their game change their strategy every game, depending on the wicket, depending on the conditions, which he did today. He bowled a few Yorkers. It's not like he's just bowling back of length and being one-dimensional. He bowled some Yorkers, bowled some really good balls. The ball to Cameron Green was beautiful. He hit him for a really convincing pull the previous ball, and then I think he was like maybe a second late on that ball. It just ricocheted off the stump. I think it went one bounce for. It was
after that.
Yeah, off the stump. So great signs. Great signs. Really good control, and he's got a really, really repeatable, clean action which enables him to bowl those lines time and time again. Not a single cut shot, not a single ball down the leg. Unbelievable.
Yeah, Cameron Green's an international batter who's grown up on fast pitches and is successful all-format batter. If he gets beaten defending to a young Indian fast bowler, what does that tell us?
It tells us he's pretty good. It tells you everything that we've just discussed. In that, he's nearly sort of stepped out of a rookie mould. He's not a rookie. He's actually bowling at the moment, and we're only talking small sample size, but at the moment he's bowling like a seasoned pro that's got many seasons under his belt. He's only played one first-class game, I believe.
Yes.
And so
that's
it's not
3 years ago.
Yeah, and it's not like he's got a backlog of experience of a lot of cricket, which helps particularly fast bowlers develop their skill and their control and everything about it. So that's the surprising thing. It's a pleasant surprise.
Yes.
Seeing him, have all these great attributes. it's hard to fault him at the moment.
And
I would
Please.
I would actually give credit to the LSG support staff because they've kept him in their wing for 2 years. He was injured. They didn't release him. The easiest thing could have been like, okay, this guy's not playing. He's just injured. Release him. But I think they've kept him in the scheme of things. Put in some good work with him. Because sometimes you should actually give credit to the coaches as well. Because Monet, I think I saw Monet during the timeout having a word with him, getting those inputs in, just egging him on. And I think it's the credit goes to the support staff as well of the LSG unit.
So please do send in your questions and comments, and I'll try and take as many as I can before we wrap things up. But I'm sure that after 2 games now, we anyway tend to get quite excited and emotional about our cricket in our part of the world. Fast bowlers get us more excited than perhaps even young, talented batters. I'm sure people would be thinking, right, how quickly can we accelerate Mayank Yadav's path to playing for India? How quickly should we? T20 World Cup immediately after the IPL, and there's a very exciting 5 Test series in Australia later on. Realistically, can he be prepared for either of those 2? Should he be, and what's the way forward?
I think no matter what the chatter, I think he should stay focused on one game at a time because that's gonna automatically help him make his case. I mean, obviously he's a cricketer in India. Everybody who plays in the IPL, like the Indians, want to represent the country. So that's obviously the end goal, without saying. With the kind of work he's put in the last 2 games, that does bring a lot of eyeballs. But he'll have to obviously repeat it over a period of time. Then again, when you're talking about the Border Gavaskar series, that's a Test series. That's a whole different skill set, a whole different workload. The T20 World Cup, I'm sure he's going to be a contender if he backs it up with few more performances because he is bowling absolute gas.
Yeah, there's some high quality players around, isn't there, in the IPL, and India's got a good quartet of fast bowlers who have been playing for India for some time in the white ball format. But as Varun rightly pointed to, is that if his form continues throughout this tournament, the World Cup starts 3 days after the IPL tournament, and I think you'd be crazy not to look at players that are in form going into that tournament. Yep, he may not have the caps behind him, but if he continues this vein of form and can keep this pace up throughout the whole tournament and keep winning games, he's won 2 games in a row, his first 2 games, then you're right in the mix. Long shot, but you wouldn't say never.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember the last time India took a debutant to a T20 World Cup, at least in recent years, but the timing does at least make the case realistic to some degree. Would you be entertaining the thought?
Oh, he's in the conversation. Definitely. He wasn't in the conversation 2 weeks ago, but he's in the conversation. Whether you take that risk in punting on him or not is another conversation. But you also need to consider what is it that you need, what is the skill set you need in that reserve fast bowler. Is it someone that you need that's a power play bowler, someone that has the ability to bowl at the death? All those subtle skill sets that are important when you're talking about a World Cup in the T20 format. So at the moment, what we've seen him do is bowl in the middle phase and bowl very, very fast and very, very well. So, it really depends on what the selectors are looking for. With regards to the Test series, again, it's a completely different format of the game. But without a doubt, I'd be taking him to Australia. Yeah. If it's only just for the experience of being around a Test series in Australia and gaining the experience of being there.
What would be fascinating around the T20 World Cup is that if he fitted into that middle role, he may not have to do a different role. You can free up Jasprit Bumrah to bowl 2 overs in the power play and then 2 overs at the end because you won't need him as much in the middle to come back and break partnerships. So having a genuine wicket taker in the middle, and you've been involved with the CPL for a long period of time, airspeed in those conditions is a significant benefit. So it's one of the main attributes he's got.
I mean, it's you can almost envision, if we're only dreaming at the moment, but bowling alongside, say, India's premier spinner then. So he bowls in tandem with Kuldeep Yadav or Jadeja. And then they need to figure out what their reserve looks like. Do they want 2 extra fast bowlers, an all-rounder, backup keeper? Lots of conversations, but the Umran Malik comparison will continually be made. He's not really been looked at as a red ball bowler, and there are those who say that might also distract from the format that he's showing the most promise in. I'm just going to take some comments here as well. Venkatesh Iyengar says, fast track Mayank to the T20 World Cup. Don't wait. Speed doesn't last. Doesn't last?
No, speed lasts. There's no reason why speed doesn't last. It just depends on your work ethics. It just depends on how much you're willing to sacrifice, because there's a lot of sacrifice to bowl fast for a very long period of time. Fast bowling literally has to be a lifestyle for you. So, and if you're enjoying it, it will be a lifestyle for you. So, I don't know Mayank really well, but I hope he has the work ethic and he enjoys bowling fast. Yeah. But fast bowling also comes with a lot of sacrifice. Yeah,
Rocky is saying, will the BCCI give a central contract to Mayank Yadav? Well, I'm sure they're certainly looking at him at the moment.
Definitely a fast bowling contract.
Yeah, there's that as well.
It's in the mail.
Yeah. He has been on the radar for a while now. And I'm taking a few more questions here on Mayank. Can he become a red ball bowler? I saw that a little while back as well. Yeah, I think that's the call now. Do you want this young man to play a full season, or at least start the season for Delhi when the Ranji Trophy season begins next time, and then see, if he fits that Australia squad?
No, I completely agree with what Tom said. No matter what, you should take him to Australia, even if you feel that he's maybe not ready with the red ball, or ready, or if his body is not ready. It doesn't matter. Just take him to Australia just for the exposure. Natarajan got to play a test. In that argument, Mayank can definitely play a test.
Yeah, there are lots of reserve players that got a game with injuries.
Yeah. The only problem is taking him to Australia is there's going to be a few Indian batters that have got to face him in the nets.
Yeah.
Particularly in Perth.
So I'm not sure they're going to be that keen about it.
Yep, I can just pass a few notes here. Stephen Smith, of course, is in the Star Sports studios. He's watching him very closely. Yeah. More closely than he's watched any other bowler on the telly. Doing a wonderful job, of course, as a pundit right through the IPL. What else do we have? Jagmohan Bisht wants to know the difference between Mayank and Umran. We touched upon this, but it's one worth revisiting. If someone would like to take that, the difference. Tom, you work closely with him. Difference between Mayank and Umran?
Oh, it's purely down to the biomechanics of the action. Mayank's got a straighter line action, if I could put it that way. Umran's more sidearm and a little bit more slingy and throws himself. He's a little bit more splayed at the crease, so therefore the control of his line is not as pinpoint. Be fair to say?
Absolutely, yeah.
Trajectory as well. Trajectory as well. He seems to extract a little bit more bounce,
which comes with that straight
line. From the straight line.
In terms of facing.
Nikhil Uttamchandani is back with us. Wants Tom's take on Mayank's effectiveness on Caribbean pitches, which can be variable, and do slower and variable pitches help or harm his effectiveness?
I think it helps. Certainly won't harm, particularly if he maintains the line that he bowls.
Yep.
Ball speed is absolutely critical, and if you're getting inconsistent bounce and a slow pitch, it makes no difference. It doesn't slow down the ball as it arrives to the batter. It's still going to be at 155.
Okay, we're going to try and just pace ourselves for the Mayank Yadav story, right? We enjoyed it the other day against Punjab, and it's just building more and more now. So keep an eye out for this man, and you've heard the views of the panel. We'll get them again as we see him against different batters, different grounds, etc., etc. Let's also talk about how LSG managed to execute the defense of the score, which RCB the other night couldn't. Tactically pretty sharp as well. They started with M. Siddharth, and that's a good matchup for Kohli and Faf. Eventually, the wicket came too, so they've come to this game well prepared.
Absolutely, and his execution was spot on. He was bowling some really, really fast arm balls, swinging into the batsman, not giving much room. And I think what you must take out of what Kunal and M. Siddharth did was that they just didn't bowl only arm balls. They were actually tossing the odd ball up, and it was gripping. So just that subtle variation every 2 balls also brought them the wicket eventually, because the one which Kohli got out, it wasn't an arm ball. Just brilliant tactical awareness, and especially when you have somebody like Mayank to come in and do what he did, that just broke any kind of resistance RCB were going to put up with.
And just as we analyse the quality of the bowling, I'm sure RCB fans would be thinking, why could our bowlers not make more of a fight of 182 against KKR the other night? And today their batters have been unable to chase a similar score. Is it just coming down to the quality of the bowling? Did it have anything to do with the surface from what we saw? If you
They don't
compare
have
the
a
two
150 plus bowler in their ranks.
Oh, I don't think that makes too much as significant. Yeah, he's a good
Mayank's
asset.
X factor, point of difference.
He is an X factor, but in terms of the lines they bowled early to let Quinton de Kock get off to a good start compared to what LSG did with their left arm spinners. They bowled a good length. They forced Virat and Faf to take risks and try and hit good balls over the top, which they were successful a couple of times, but because they were just more accurate at the top, made them hit the best balls for four. That was the difference at the start, and then at the end, I think you've got to put partly down to the fear of bowling to Nicholas Pooran. The last 2 overs saw 6 sixes.
The fear of catching him as well.
Yeah.
He got dropped for next to nothing.
On 2.
And they also dropped Quinton de Kock, didn't they?
Yes.
They did.
So,
Maxwell,
there's your game.
Yeah.
They should have been chasing probably 160.
You can't. Those two players, Quinton de Kock and Nicholas Pooran,
You can't let them off.
You can't drop them.
Yeah,
You just
so
can't.
that's your game there.
I mean, that's one way of certainly looking back at what could have been the turning point, certainly is in Tom's view, but there are enough RCB fans who are very disappointed that their batting, which is supposed to be their strength, which is also what they went with today as the balance. They wanted to stack up their batting, could not chase 182, and there's one question from SBM. At the easiest ground to bat on, they can't chase 182. Firstly, let's put that into context. Was it as easy? Should they have gotten...
They've only got one batter in form, and that's Virat Kohli. Faf hasn't found his feet yet this IPL. Green hasn't quite fired.
Maxi second duck.
Maxi hasn't got firing. Patadar hasn't fired.
On that point, Green also up and down again today.
Yeah, they don't know what their best lineup is, which is also disruptive in any team environment. And from a player's perspective, we talk about role clarity, and it seems like there isn't that role clarity around. They're still searching for what is our best combination, and it's nearly like until we start winning a couple of games, we won't settle on that set batting order until we win a couple. Which
and you've got to give some credit to LSG. Tactically, they made the right decisions. They bowled 3 overs of left arm spin at the top to Faf and Virat, and as soon as Maxwell comes out, he's facing someone in the high 150s, which is in the past has been one of his weaknesses as well. So tactically, they had the right matchups for RCB tonight.
Yeah, they certainly did different things though tactically today, and we went to the extra batter that they chose to play. They had DK in their bowling first 11, and then they added Lomror, and this is from Kulathumani saying it doesn't take rocket science to include Vaishak in the team after how well he bowled in the last. Looking at the result now and how things went surface as well, did they not get their balance right?
Just the question is, who's he playing ahead of? He's not playing ahead of Dale. Dale bowled really well.
No, it had to be a batter. So they basically went the extra batter today in Lomror, didn't they? They could have had DK on the bench, played by Shak, had one more bowling option, and then simply brought in DK, and we wouldn't have seen Lomror, who, funny enough, was the most effective hitter.
But again, I'll bring it back to the simple fact that we wouldn't be having this conversation if they held catches.
Correct.
Yeah. It's easy to look at those things, but Topley bowled the perfect slower ball to Nicholas Pooran, arguably the biggest threat in this format of the game, and it was missed, and 40 runs later you're chasing more than you should be.
Yeah, Vice bowled well the other night, didn't he? And I'd expect him to be another player when the surface looks like it's going to grip more. It didn't grip as much as it did the other night when they played on that sticky wicket, but he bowled well, and he will definitely feature later in the tournament.
I just want to open up a question.
Please.
What do you think of Virat Kohli batting at 3 or 4?
And how does that change? Who do you have up at top? Cam Green?
Cam Green, because at the moment I just feel like if Virat Kohli gets out, there's it's almost like game over. It just feels like that, because
They were the second best partnership in the IPL last year.
No. I'm not saying that it's not good up front. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying from Virat being there till the end perspective, because he's not going to.
Well, I think realistically, historically, Kohli's only ever batted top 3, so that
Top
it has
three.
to end at 3.
I said 3 or 4.
Yeah, and that's where he bats for India.
Correct.
Cam Green's best numbers are at 3,
Yeah.
so I don't think you'd be trying to elevate Cam Green above Virat Kohli. That partnership, Faf and Kohli have at the top is brilliant. It was last year. It just hasn't really kicked into gear this year so far. But it will. I understand your question, but then again you start playing those musical chairs, and that's probably a position which has been consistent for them.
On Cam Green though.
Mitch is getting angry with me.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I understand. You've been in RCB for a long time. They usually like to chop and change all the time.
I'm not saying do it, Mitch.
No. It's a good. It's just
a discussion.
It is a good discussion. It's a good suggestion, but the way I view it is, as soon as you frame that question, the first thing that came to my mind is why rob Peter to pay Paul.
Correct.
So what's working at the top is Virat Kohli.
Yeah.
Before this game was in the as good a form he's ever been in. You know, playing brilliantly well. So fix the other parts that aren't working. Don't move what's working to try to fix what's not working.
I agree with
so
you.
I
just wanted to know
let me
your
finish
perspective.
the issue, in my view, is if you look at all the games they've played so far, there's been different people at 3, 4 and 5.
Yes.
Correct.
Every single game. So work out what it is you want to do and stick with it.
Yeah.
Correct.
And give that trust and faith in that top 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, I wouldn't move Virat from the top spot, but I was just wanting to know what you guys and Mitch like.
Naughty boy.
Yeah. It's
All
just a
right.
discussion.
Fiddling.
It's just an interesting discussion.
He bit.
Yeah, you don't weaken a strength to strengthen a weakness. And on that point, though, Shaurya Sood says, is it time for RCB to drop Cameron Green? Now, this is a thought that you had entertained previously, that the balance of the team is highly dependent on who they pick as their overseas.
Look, the point around that was to shore up the bowling attack, to have 2 quality overseas bowlers to be able to sort of compete with the ball. But we're discussing now the issue with their batting.
Correct.
Their batting's their weakness, so you can't take away Green.
It's a similar theme, doesn't it, Tom?
Yeah,
we always say it's batting strength. They don't get the bowling, and suddenly then...
Yeah, so I wouldn't be removing Green at this stage for that reason. I'd be giving him a consistent role and saying, we need you to bat 3 and this is what your role is.
Yep.
And if that's not the case, they then need to consider Will Jacks as a potential number 3 or move Faf to 3 and give Will Jacks the opening spot with Virat Kohli.
There are a lot of
Mitch, you just said yes to that. You said that Faf and Virat cannot move from the top spot.
No, I said to Jacks. I said yes to
No, you said yes when Tom said Faf to 3.
Well, he knows where... I've not been exposed to Will Jacks a lot. He knows where that's the best, so going to listen to...
You know what he's doing, right?
The super coach.
Winding you up. Right. Every overseas player is featured in the comment section right now. So there's questions on Faf whether you should move on. There's Will Jacks, there's Lockie Ferguson.
Yeah.
Lockie Ferguson...
And that happens when the team loses, of course. This
apparently
is now
the
three
chat
losses.
is Lockie Ferguson's got a slight side strain.
Okay.
So I've been wondering where he is. He's out.
Oh, dear. You know what? Well, it's still early days. I know this would hurt RCB fans. There are some of you who've actually been to the game commenting right now saying that this is the frustration of the RCB, that there's such a loyal and well-followed team, and yet it seems like the same story every year. But let's give it some time. I'm sure we can have this conversation at length with more games to come. Lucknow look a really good team, though. It's time for a quick rapid-fire review, gentlemen. All set, you know the drill, 20 seconds. And we have touched upon this, but let's have a crack again. Should India be considering Mayank Yadav for the World Cup? Tom Moody.
At this stage, he's in the conversation, but he's in the conversation with 4 or 5 other fast bowling options. He certainly wasn't a thought 10 days ago, but I think definitely he's on the table. But it's understanding what role he would play in that World Cup is the key.
Okay, nicely done. Varun Aaron, what's going wrong for Mohammad Siraj this season? 20 seconds.
I think he bowled pretty well today, except for the last over. Last over, he could have stuck to the plan which was working for him, which was wide outside the off stump. The moment he changed from there, he got one length ball wrong, which went down the ground for 4, and then it just changed after that completely.
All right, Mitch McClenaghan, what is the biggest issue that Bengaluru need to fix? 20 seconds.
Consistency in their batting order, consistency in what roles the bowlers are doing, just consistency from top to bottom.
Well, I'll come back to you, Varun. Does Mahipal Lomror need to be a starter now in Bengaluru's 11? 20 seconds.
If Rawat's still struggling, maybe yes.
All right, that is the like for like. Plenty of time to spare as we go to Tom Moody. Does Lucknow look like one of the best balanced sides so far in the tournament? 20 seconds.
Yeah, they look a good side. They've got good spin options. They've unearthed a bowler that can bowl rockets. Their batting is starting to fall into place, particularly with Quinton de Kock getting runs this evening. I think it's important. And KL Rahul obviously showing that he is fit, given that he's kept tonight.
All right, yep, excellent points. That is a rapid fire review. Now, fun part. Are we all set? This time yesterday, we did see Mitch McClenaghan get quite emotional with Mumbai's loss and then the impact zone. I think that might change. Let's go into the impact zone. Call it, Mitch.
Well
Bring
done.
it on.
Wow, that's
Bring
the
it on.
highest score of the season.
Bring it on.
Highest score of the season. Well, Nicky P, straight out of the blocks.
Yeah.
You've got to make them pay if they drop you. And sure, he did that. Scored 40 after that. Sensational. And Mayank Yadav, I can't believe I got that. You had first pick of the bowlers. Boy, actually got round to me. And
He's rubbing it in now.
how can you leave out such a talent? He's in the frame for the World Cup and he's in the frame for my team every time we play the impact zone. And Maxwell, well, you didn't contribute with the bat, but you helped Yadav get some points.
He's talking to
Maxwell.
Maxwell.
But your bowling was sensational today, and that's what a good all-rounder does.
Did you ask him to comment?
I just thinking.
He's just given an audition.
I just
for
thought he'll be
commentary.
I thought he'll be a gracious winner.
Yeah. Wow.
No wonder the
I'm a bit
Kiwis.
overwhelmed
No
with all
wonder
that.
the Kiwis come second. Yeah. Oh man. No, but you deserve that. You have done very well
Well done,
today,
Mitch.
Mitch
That was
McClenaghan.
good. That was a great pick
Thank you.
tonight.
Yeah, well done, mate. That's great. I'm
Thank
really
you very much.
pleased.
Good luck tomorrow, guys.
Tom
Good
didn't
luck
even put
tomorrow.
his hand out. You had to turn that way. Tom wasn't moving an inch.
Oh, geez. And the points from the my outrageous pick are going to...
3 sixes to Puran. You've had a cracking day.
Yeah, I'll be
Absolutely.
in fourth place by just a little bit less.
And that this reminder, Puran with 3 sixes was the only outrageous one to get. Mayank Yadav came close, but we didn't see the bouncer
He
hit
hit
someone.
DK on his pads with the bouncer. He hit someone. How can you say that?
Wrong
Guys,
helmet,
come on.
mate.
How tall is DK if his bouncer hit him on his pads? Sometimes, yeah, TV can be deceptive. But yeah, you are the most informed Mumbai Indians at the moment. So, well done, Mitch McClenaghan. And I tell you what,
What you say?
most informed Mumbai Indians.
Come on, mate. It's all going to turn around. Be positive.
course.
Stay positive vibe.
Right. On that note, guess what? I have an updated season leaderboard as well. Now we're getting into that stage of the tournament where, these guys can keep playing.
Whoa!
Oh, what a jump.
There we go.
Whoa!
How's your father, lads?
You can sleep tonight, okay?
Okay, how did I come down? How did I come below Jafar?
Yeah, Jafar has done nothing like CSK and just stayed in the top 4. No mistakes.
Exactly.
Just keep it steady. Keep the ship
Guys,
steady.
this is rigged, man.
No? What are you saying?
Now you're under some pressure.
No, I'm joking. Yeah, it's good.
All right. How good is that? But it's a long tournament.
That was a good one.
Yeah, you need to stay in the top 4, or rather in the top 2 in your case, towards the end. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Varun Aaron, Mitch McClenaghan, and Tom Moody. Always a pleasure hearing their thoughts, and we will have them back tomorrow as Delhi take on KKR. KKR are eyeing that top spot now, where Rajasthan and Lucknow are also getting there with the starts they've had. So join us for build-up on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. Download the mobile app if you haven't already. It'll have you covered with everything from the IPL and the world of cricket. Right. We will see you tomorrow. Good night.
All new hot and techy Brezza, the Citybird SUV.